Hello everyone, welcome to another Music of the Month, where, well, it's my monthly series. You probably will know this by now, I've been doing it for half the year by this point. But basically, for those who don't know, I take a look at all the albums of the previous month, those I listen to, and, well, those I listened to the previous month, they don't necessarily have to come out in the month, as is kind of the theme of the series, and I look over them, I review them, and I tell people, well, I tell the internet what I think of them, because my opinion matters. So, and this time I actually took the liberty of compartmentalizing them, so all the albums I have to review, which is a total of 10, uh, only one of those not actually released in July. Very, very interesting. But yeah, I actually compartmentalize them into like a little list of their own, so I don't have to keep scrolling back and forth up and down and keep getting confused. So let's do that. We start with Between You and Me, Everything is Temporary. And before I start, I want to say that Hopeless Records has been kind of screwy and a bit picky with what they put up on the internet. It's like the last few albums, like this was one of them. There's a couple more we'll get to. They really haven't been put up on YouTube, and I was forced. Well, I say forced. I got Spotify, so I didn't listen to this album on Spotify though, but I did find a way to listen to it through another site, which I won't go into. Yeah, it's not harmless. It's not a harmless site. It is a harmless site. It's not harmful, is what I meant to say. But yeah, all in all, solid debut. Uh, it's definitely one of the more likable pop punk albums of the year. But in a month where pop punk just like hits you so hard in the face normally, especially in a time of year like summer where everything could be pop punk and you wouldn't even notice. Uh, it doesn't really stand out as super. It's good. I feel like they have a lot more in the bag though. I feel like they're hiding a little bit of their talent. I feel like they've got a little more longer to go. But I look forward to what they release next. Next is Bury Tomorrow with Black Flame. Really love this one. I wouldn't put it on the same pedestal as I put Earthbound on for 2016, and that was one of my favorite albums of that year. I still heavily enjoyed this one though. I think the production value. I think the only difference is that the production value stepped up quite a bit. But I still really enjoyed this album. Will it make my top 10? I don't know. Did I like it? Yes. It was just a lot of fun. So, yeah, just solid metal from a solid metalcore act from the UK. And next up is the first American act on this video, with Darren Malakian and the Scars on Broadway with the album Dictator. And here's the thing, I was never a huge System of a Down fan, and I never super got into Scars on Broadway when it was just Scars on Broadway before Darren Malakian put his name in front of it. And I quite enjoyed this album. It's what I've come to expect from System of a Down, given my limited dealings with them. You know, just politics and sex references, and it's weird. The style is weird. I like to call Scars on Broadway basically what System of a Down would sound like if it was Darren singing. I actually saw that quite once in a Kerrang magazine when their debut came out. Just Scars on Broadway, Scars on Broadway. So yeah, I have to agree with that. But I did quite enjoy this album. Not quite in the top 10. I did like it though. I thought it was really good. Next is Hailstorm with Vicious, and once again, not in my personal top 10, but it was so much better than their last album was. I think the last album was called Into the Wild or something. I didn't like that album. It was too slow and boring, and I didn't like it. But Vicious is a lot better. It doesn't completely break away from the pitfalls that the band have a tendency to dig for themselves, but it's a lot better than the last one. It's not quite on par with The Strange Case of, which is probably my favourite album by them, and I've only got one album that I haven't listened to by them, which is their debut. But yeah, uh, well, I'm going to be doing them for the all-female season of Backtracking, which is season 5, so, you know. I like this album, not in my personal top 10, but I quite enjoyed it. Next up is a band I wasn't told about, and I say this to people all the time and they wonder why I bitch about it. When you know of a talented band, fucking show me. Next is The Interrupters with Fight the Good Fight. This is the album that didn't come out in July, but it came out near the end of June. I didn't hear it until like a week or two into July. Let's split the difference and say a week and a half. This album is really amazing. It's probably one of the best ska punk based albums I've heard since The Hands of Thee by Australia Manifesto, which came out 5 years ago. And I just really liked it. Like, it was charming, it was funny in places, it's got a really good energy to it. this might be my personal top 10, and it's one of the best. Like, I think Amy Interrupted is one of the best female singers I've ever heard. She's what I could call basically the ska punk version of Lily Allen, but she sounds a bit nicer, I guess. But yeah, it was. This is an amazing album. I implore you that you listen to this one right now. Fight the Good Fight by the Interrupters. It's all on YouTube. Thanks to Hellcat Records and Epitaph, obviously, Hellcat and Epitaph, sort of owned by Tim Armstrong, who is the fucking man. I really enjoyed this album. So we're going to move on to Like Pacific with In Spite of Me. Once again, pretty good pop punk album. Their second album, if I'm not mistaken. I became a fan of theirs a couple months ago because a friend tagged me in one of their songs. I listened to it, I enjoyed it. I don't know if it'll be in my top 10, but I quite remember just liking it. I thought it was a really, really good album. For my first full taste of them, I'd listened to a couple of their songs beforehand, and it's clear to hear the difference because the song I was showed first by my friends was an older one from their first album, and then hearing the differences and hearing hearing a song from the second album, there is a bit of a clear difference there, and I quite enjoyed it. It's not in my top 10, but I did like it. Next up is MXPX with their self-titled 10th album, MXPX, released independently, crowdfunded, and produced independently, and that always gets bonus points from me. Really, really like this album. Now I can't really blame people for not telling me about this band beforehand, because this one was my own fault. I knew about this band for a long time, I just never got around to listening to them. So yeah, I quite enjoyed their self-titled album. It was just a fun blast of old school punk with really, really great production value, updated for the modern age. It's the kind of thing I look for when it comes to an old style but with a slightly different blueprint, And MXPX has been playing their style of punk for 26 years. They've been playing their style of punk for as long as I've been on this earth. Okay? That is amazing to me. So yeah, this one really is my own fault. I definitely will listen to them. A lot more of them. They're going to get a backtracking episode at some point. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it. Just really, really fun punk, pop punk stuff. Really good. Could be in the top 10? I don't know. I just really liked it. Next is, we got 3 more to go, by the way. Next is Oh Weatherly with Lips Like Oxygen. Another Hopeless Records dealie, and I liked it. If I'm being 100% honest, though, it's probably my least favourite album of July, but I didn't completely hate it. I thought it was perfectly serviceable for what I did, and it sounded good, but I think my main issue was that it was sort of too much like the singing about girl style pop punk that I used to like a bit more as a kid, but now I'm in my mid-20s, it's something I'm not as fond of, I guess. It's still a really good album, and it's the same. It's the same thing I had with Between You and Me and Everything Is Temporary. There's a lot more lying under the surface, and I understand why they're not laying it out because it's a debut. You can't really go all out on your debut. But hearing 2 pop punk albums from Hopeless Records with a similar sort of feeling to them, it doesn't make it feel easy. I'm still looking forward to the next album, though. I do wonder what they're going to come out with, but still, I feel like there are some things that could have been done better, but it was a debut, so I will give it the benefit of the doubt. Not in my top 10, probably my least favorite album of July, but to be honest, I still quite enjoyed what I remember, so not 100% terrible. Next is Real Friends with Composure, another band that's been around for a little bit, actually. Not as long as like MXPX has been around or the Interrupters have been around. Then again, the Interrupters have finally been around since 2011, so I'm forgiven for that one. But yeah, Real Friends have been around for maybe slightly longer than they have, and I quite enjoyed this album. I don't really know which album number it is. It might be their 3rd. I don't fully remember. All I know is I quite liked it. It was really, really enjoyable. It was a very fun album. Once again, being a summer album in pop punk, like there are some moments where it sort of fell flat, but I didn't hate it. It's not in my top 10, but I did quite enjoy what I remember, much like with Lips Like Oxygen. So yeah, Real Friends Composure, you did a good job. Well, Real Friends, you did a good job with Composure, more accurately. And finally, the album I was most looking forward to, and it lived up to my expectations, Crown Shyness by Trashbone. Holy crap, these guys have come so long. Like, they've come a long way since Nothing Alright You Can Change What You've Been Through. Now, this is another album on Hopeless, so it was very difficult for me to find, but really, really worth looking around for, and just absolutely amazing. And it's also got me interested in the concept of crown shyness. For those who don't know what crown shyness is, it's basically when fully stocked or grown trees are together in a forest, but the canopies don't touch each other and there's like little cracks. And it's also linked to how a person's mentality can be, hence the crown shyness thing. And that just really interests me. Like, it's an album with a smart title and it made me think about stuff. And on the inside, it's actually a really good album. It's heavier than the debut, but there's definitely a lot of like really fun melodies as well. I really enjoyed this one. Like, so honestly, listing a top 10 for this year is going to be hard because I think like the three albums I like the most are Crown Giants by Trash Boat, The Interrupters with Fight the Good Fight, and MXPX with MXPX. Well, I say best of the month. One of them was from June, but still, I listened to it in July, so it counts. But yeah, it's just been a really, really good year for music, and a really, really good month, and I quite liked it. You know, even though June was a month when I entered it. It was kind of weird because I didn't think there was as much that as I was going to be, and there was more in July, but not by much. However, August looks really fucking stacked with a good few albums coming out tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I really enjoyed July. There's some really, really great stuff, and yeah, I don't really have a lot else to say. Just had fun. Uh, good albums, good times. Good time to end the video, I think, because it's been going on for about 11 minutes longer than I thought it would have, but hey! So, I'll see you all very, very quickly. No, I won't see you very, very quickly. I'll probably see you on the weekend. Just let me do this. Ah, yes, okay, there is another fight card. Oh yeah, UFC 227 at the Staples Center. Pardon me, on the 5th of August. That's Sunday, so you'll see the review of the best fight of that night on Monday, possibly. Yeah, got nothing else to say. Thank you for listening. You're awesome. Bye bye. I'll see you all on Monday.